File 17, the MOTEL VHS channel. The motel sat off a two-lane highway like it had been left behind by every decade at once. I pulled in a little after midnight because the rain was getting too heavy to keep driving, and the vacancy sign was buzzing so hard it looked like it was trying to shake itself loose from the pole. The lobby was empty except for a brass bell, a rack of old brochures, and a television mounted in the corner playing black and white static with no sound. When the clerk finally came out from the back, he looked half asleep and slid a key across the desk without asking for my name twice. Room 12, ground floor. He told me the local channels were fuzzy, the ice machine was broken, and if the TV turned on by itself, to just unplug it. He said that last part flat, like he'd repeated it before. Room 12 smelled like damp carpet and old air conditioning. There was one bed, a wooden chair by the window, a painting of a sailboat crooked over the dresser, and one narrow closet by the bathroom with a slatted door painted too many times. The place looked untouched, but not clean. More like nobody had bothered changing anything because nobody ever stayed longer than a night. I set my bag on the chair and turned on the TV mostly for noise. At first I got snow, then a sermon in another language, then a weather map from 2 states away, and then a channel with no number. It was just grainy footage of my room. Same bed, same dresser, same bathroom door, same angle from the back corner near the closet. I remember laughing under my breath because I thought it was some weird motel surveillance loop, cheap and creepy but harmless. Then I saw myself step into frame carrying my bag. I froze with the remote still in my hand and watched myself on the screen move exactly the way I had about 10 seconds earlier. Not live. Delayed. I crossed toward the bed in real life, and the version on the TV stayed behind for a beat before following. I tested it again, raised my arm, waited. The version on screen copied me after the same short delay, jerky and washed out like it had been dubbed from an old tape too many times. I went closer to the TV, expecting to find a hidden input menu or some prank device wired into the room, but all I got was static hissing under the image. Then the delayed version of me on the screen stopped moving. I was still standing there in front of the dresser. On the TV, I was turned halfway toward the closet, staring at it. I looked at the closet and told myself not to be stupid. The door was shut. The room was quiet except for the AC kicking and rattling in the wall. I opened the closet expecting nothing but hangers and maybe a Bible drawer. Instead, I found a rod with 3 empty hangers, a yellowed blanket folded on the floor, and wood paneling on the back wall that didn't match the rest of the room. No camera, no light, no person crouched inside. I even leaned in and tapped along the paneling with my knuckles. Solid. But when I stepped back out and looked at the TV again, the closet door on screen was still closed. The delayed footage hadn't caught up this time. It wasn't following me anymore. It was waiting. I backed away from the closet and kept my eyes on the screen. The room on the television sat empty for a few seconds, then the closet door in the footage slowly opened inward by itself. Not fast, not dramatic, just enough to reveal a strip of black behind it that looked deeper than the actual closet I'd just checked. Something moved in that darkness. At first I thought it was the tracking on the tape rolling. Then it leaned forward into the picture, and I realized I was looking at a person holding a camera. I couldn't make out a face, just one pale shape where a forehead should have been, and the dead glass eye of a lens pointed outward from inside my closet. In the real room behind me, I heard the soft knock of wood settling from that same direction. I spun around and aimed my own camera straight at the closet. The door was open now. I know it had been shut a second earlier. The blanket was still there, the hangers still swaying a little, but the back panel looked different. It looked farther away. The wood grain on it seemed stretched, like I was looking down a hallway disguised as a wall. I took one step closer and felt cold air come out of the closet, dry and stale like the inside of a sealed room. My TV popped with static, and when I glanced back, the channel had changed angles. Now it was filming me from inside the closet itself, closer than before, as if whoever was holding that camera had moved forward to make room. I left the room and went straight to the front desk with the key still in my hand. The lobby TV was still full of snow, and the bell on the counter was gone. I called out for the clerk twice before he stepped from the back office, already looking annoyed, like I was interrupting something important. I told him the television in room 12 was showing footage from inside the closet. He didn't even pretend not to understand. He just stared past me toward the parking lot and said, "Did it stay on the room or did it switch to you?" I asked what that meant, and he rubbed his face like he regretted hearing the question. Then he told me room 12 used to have a long-term tenant who recorded everything. He said after the man disappeared, the tapes never turned up, but once in a while the room picked a channel and started showing whatever hadn't finished yet. I should have left right then, but the rain outside had turned violent, and something in the clerk's face told me he already knew leaving wasn't the clean answer I wanted. He went into the office and came back with a plastic motel remote wrapped in yellowing tape and a handwritten channel guide. The guide had every local station crossed out except one line at the bottom, 13, Guest Archive. I asked him what that was, and he said nobody put that there. He also said if the footage started showing me from somewhere I had not been yet, I needed to leave the room immediately and keep driving until daylight. No stopping, no sleeping, no mirrors. He refused to come with me. He just pushed the remote across the desk and said the station usually ended by itself unless it got interested. When I got back to room 12, the door was already open a few inches. I know I had shut it. The TV volume had risen on its own, and for the first time there was sound on the channel. It was just room tone at first, the hum of the AC, a soft electrical buzz, the hiss of tape, but underneath it I could hear breathing, slow, patient. I didn't go fully inside. I stood in the doorway and aimed the camera toward the dresser. The television was showing the room from inside the closet again, only now the angle was tilted as if the person filming had their head leaned to one side. On screen, I walked into the room and shut the door behind me. In real life, I was still standing in the doorway with the hall at my back. Then the version of me on the TV turned toward the closet and said, in my own voice, "I found the extra room." I ran, not out of panic at first, but because hearing my own voice say something I had never said made the whole thing feel finished in a way I couldn't explain. I made it halfway across the lot before I heard the TV audio still playing behind me, loud enough to spill through the open room door into the rain. I turned back once, and that was my mistake. Through the window of room 12, I could see the television glowing bright blue-white in the dark. Even from outside, I could tell the channel had changed again. It wasn't showing the room anymore. It was showing the parking lot, showing me. Grainy, zoomed in, filmed from just behind my right shoulder. The camera on that feed was standing outside with me. Not in the room, not in the closet. Somewhere close enough that the image swayed with the rain and matched the angle I would see if I looked over. I didn't look. I drove until the sky started turning gray and finally pulled into a truck stop almost 60 miles away. I kept telling myself I was done with it, that distance mattered, that daylight mattered, that weird old motels along back highways probably survived on stories like that. I even started believing it until I went inside to wash my face. Mounted in the corner of the diner, above the coffee machine, was a little CRT television with rabbit ears wrapped in foil. It was on the local news at first. Then the image fuzzed. The channel number vanished, and there I was again, in grainy black and white, asleep in my driver's seat outside under the dawn light, footage being filmed from the back seat of my car. As I watched, the sleeping version of me on the screen opened his eyes and looked straight into the rearview mirror. If this file got under your skin, that means it worked. Drop a comment with the moment that hit hardest and subscribe before the next tape surfaces. More POV horror files are coming, and some of them don't stop playing when you leave the room.